Hello everybody, I'm KC and welcome to the 2019 Q&A video. I think I consider this my first proper full Q&A video because I tried this before, only got one question, so that was kind of a bummer. But this time you guys really came through. I asked you guys to submit questions, you submitted some really good ones, so let's go through and check out what you asked. Also, I'm going to try to keep this fairly unscripted, so if there's fumbling or awkwardness or I forget something, that's why. Okay. Elite Pokemon Master Kyla, great name, asked, have you played Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee yet? No! I really want to, but I don't have a Switch because game consoles are expensive. Game Master 3.0, if I say it one more time, do I summon him? Asked, what is your favorite video game and who is your favorite doctor? Okay, first, favorite video game, I probably should say a Pokemon game, but I don't know. Because Pokemon for video games, that's like my main thing. It's why I got into so many different consoles and systems. It's literally the only reason I own most of my handheld systems, and the only reason I ever owned an N64. But if we're talking a game from a narrative standpoint, this might sound obvious, but Sonic Adventure 2. Like, that game is just, it's so much fun. I've probably played, besides the Pokemon game, I've probably played that game more than any other video game out there. It really got me invested in the world of Sonic. I really love all the different ways you could play the game. I know some people aren't crazy about a Sonic game where you play as anyone besides Sonic and you don't go fast, but I really like the diversity in the gameplay. I thought it was fun. I really love the emerald hunting and just the story. I know it's cheesy and corny as all hell, but I love it. You all know I love Shadow. He's like my favorite Sonic character. Ever since I did that video, I've gotten even more attached to him, which is apparently possible. I'll do part 3 eventually. I know I keep saying it. I have to get back into it. I'm really sorry. And you know, it's just one of those things that like instantly hooks you to a franchise and never lets go. And honestly, for that, I probably would say Sonic Adventure 2. But if you want a Pokemon answer, then Pokemon Leaf Green. That's my favorite Pokemon game. And who is my favorite doctor? I think I've said this before, but the 11th, Matt Smith. He was my first, actually technically Dr. Hooves were my first doctors, but when I got into Dr. Hooves and I wanted to check out the show, I did some research, I figured out the regeneration things, and it turned out that on my cable package, they had Series 5 of Doctor Who, and I found out that was the introduction of who was the Doctor at the time. So this was in like late 2012. I saw the 11th hour, that was my first episode, and I was hooked. I was hooked on Doctor Who. I adore Matt Smith. And it's not just because he was my first, like Matt, like really encompassed a lot of what makes the character appealing to me. Like, he was quirky and childish, but he was also, like, he's the youngest actor to ever play the part, but he looks, at many times, like he's 1,000 years old. Like, the way he, reflects on certain events, the way he looks at certain characters, the way he just expresses how he feels about a situation and the universe, and those great moments, like the episode where the TARDIS developed the consciousness, the TARDIS's consciousness was put into a person, the Doctor's wife. That scene at the end, that was so beautiful. Like right there, that's the challenging thing about playing the Doctor, is that not only do you have to play this certain character, but you have to encompass the entire history of everyone that came before you, and that gets harder with every incarnation. And as much as I love Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker, Matt's still my favorite, and he's probably always going to be. Cutie Evie2, asked, can you review all the X-Men movies? I've actually gotten this question a few times since I've done To Infinity War and Beyond, but the short answer is not likely. See, here's the thing. I actually haven't seen any of the X-Men movies. I know, as far as like superhero movies go, with a few exceptions, most of my investment is with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and as of this moment, we don't know what the deal is with Fox yet. We don't know if the X-Men are even jumping into the cinematic universe. That's separate for now. So I'm not saying I don't have any interest in checking out the movies. It's just not on my radar right now. But if I did watch them and I did have a lot of thoughts, then I probably would review them. But at the moment, I haven't seen them, so it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. I don't want to outright say no because, again, when I get really into basically this whole channel is just me talking about things I'm really obsessed with at the moment. So if I saw the X-Men movies, who knows, that could happen. But at the moment, no. Not anytime soon. Oh, jeez, we got our first username that's tough to pronounce. Okay. Scallop Alton, I really hope I said that right. 301 asked, what's your favorite Fall Out Boy song? That's a little random, but, okay. I actually wouldn't have an answer for this normally because I'm not really into bands, to quote Sweetie Belle.
I prefer show tunes.
But thankfully, between the fact that my sister loves Fall Out Boy, I saw them perform this once on one of the late shows, and it's a really weirdly popular song among Gravity Falls fans. There is one song I like from Fall Out Boy, and I guess that could count as my favorite. Some legends are told. Some turn to dust or to gold, but you will remember me. Yeah, that song kicks ass. Nico, again, if I'm pronouncing that right, asked, what is your favorite show / movie that came out in 2018? Classic question here. Let's start with movie. Did Greatest Showman come out in 2018? No, it didn't. Okay. That probably wouldn't have been, like, my favorite, but I did really like it. So check it out if you haven't. It's fun. It's not historically accurate, but it's fun. As for favorite, again, it might seem obvious, and I don't see, like, I know this isn't, like, the most award-worthy movie out there or anything. I usually don't see those in theaters, so I'm doing a lot of catch-up right now in time for the Oscars, but at the moment, it's probably Avengers Infinity War. I'm sorry. I know that's obvious. I'm really sorry. But I devoted so much time and so much energy to building up reviews to the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to Infinity War. So I was pretty emotionally invested at that point. And what's weird about that movie is that it both gave everyone what they wanted. Like, it gave us a bunch of the Avengers, new and old, together, fighting a huge baddie. And then it, like, threw a curveball right into your gut with the Thanos snap, making you more anticipated than ever for the next one, but just in the hopes that things will be sort of okay. And I don't want to say it's the payoff to a huge experiment, because we still have Endgame coming out this year, but it's been part of the results of this, like, 10-year experiment, and as far as I'm concerned, they really delivered on this. We still have to see how the story's gonna go with Endgame, but I honestly can't see them dropping the ball at this point. I do want to give a shout out to Mary Poppins Returns. Look, I liked it, okay? I think it's really good. If you see me on, like, Tumblr or something, I haven't stopped about this movie. Like, the more I think about it, the more I like it. It was really good for me. Favorite show? The Proposal, of course. See, it's a reality show, like a game reality show, where a guy stands behind a curtain and has like 10 or 12 women asked to marry him and says all of their qualities and judges them. And there's even a swimsuit portion at one point. And all of this, they never see the guy. And in the end, he picks a girl. The guy comes out and then proposes marriage. It's so amazing and romantic, am I right? Cheers, the show was awful. Never, ever, 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 ever watch it. Don't give them money. Not even as a joke. It's horrendous. I just needed to get it out of my system. In all seriousness, I actually had to look up what came out this year, because I did watch a lot of shows this year. Like, I watched, I've been getting into more DuckTales, obviously. I got into The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is really good. And I also finally got into The Good Place, which is amazing. But the thing is, none of those came out this year. So I was scrolling through the list, and I actually didn't watch many things that came out this year. I don't know how TV ranks for new shows this year. I did see the first episode of Hilda, that little animated show on Netflix that everyone's been talking about, and that's very cute. You know, it looks like a nice, original, interesting world, a very calming environment. It looks like a great show, but I've only seen the first episode, so I don't think I can say that's my favorite. But of the things that premiered this year, this is gonna sound so weird, but probably Instinct. It's not the best show ever. It's not the best crime serial ever, but I got a real kick out of it. It's about a teacher and former CIA agent, played by Alan Cumming, and he like joins the NYPD as a consultant kind of thing, and goes off and solves cases. It's not the best show ever made. I'm sure it's got holes up the wazoo, especially since it deals a lot in criminal psychology. And for network shows, it's probably not the most accurate, but I think I had a lot of fun with it. It's the kind of show that's like right up my alley, and it's not like too awkward or suspend of disbelief, like something like, I don't know, CSI or Law and Order SVU, where it's like it lives so much in its own world, it's not very believable as a crime procedural. But yeah, probably Instinct. Galactic Equestria 21 asked, congratulations on the subscribers. Thank you. My questions: what is your best Pokemon team? I actually have a really easy answer for this. The Pokemon team I raised in Pokemon Y. Even though by the time I got to the Elite Four in Pokemon Diamond, I had so many event legendaries. Like, I had a Darkrai, and I still couldn't beat Cynthia. But definitely the Pokemon Y team. It consisted of my Delphox, Iroh. Yes, Delphox was a great Pokemon. Vinny, the Venusaur, gotta represent my Bulbasaur line. Aaron, the Lucario. I was so happy to finally raise a Lucario. Fang, the Garchomp. That was another really powerful Pokemon I never raised before, and that was a lot of fun. Draca, the Noivern. She was a late addition. And Y Warrior, the Evital. Yes, I put the game's legendary on my team. I know some people consider that cheating, but I really like Evital, and you know what? It's a good battler. But that was a really fun game to build up my team in. I also had a lot of fun with that in Sun and Moon, but of the strongest and best teams, that one is probably the most well-balanced. Favorite MLP song? I'm surprised it took us this long to get a pony question. That's both very difficult and not difficult at all. I love a lot of songs in Friendship is Magic. It's one of my favorite things about the show in general. And I think a long time ago, I said that when The Magic Inside came out, that was the new best song in MLP. And I don't know how much I stand by that. Like, it is a really, really, really great song that's performed wonderfully by Lena Hall. And it's probably one of the few My Little Pony songs I could see like being played on the radio or something. But favorite, it's no contest because it's the moment that made me love the show, and that's This Day aria from A Candlelight Wedding. Like, that song and all of its like Disney-esque vibe and its intensity, it was just such a beautifully performed song. Amazing storyboard work of like choreographing the scene, the intensity, the performance, it was so great. And that's my favorite song because that's the moment where I got it. Like, I had seen a few episodes of Friendship is Magic as a curiosity, and I wasn't watching them in order, and a lot of people were mentioning Chrysalis, and I found out what episode she was in, and I watched it, and when I got to that point, and I got to that song, I was like, I get it. I get why there is this huge following for a My Little Pony cartoon. I'm all in. Call me a brony. This show is great, and I've never looked back. Can you review an episode from The Amazing World of Gumball? Again, probably not, because, full disclosure, I don't watch The Amazing World of Gumball. I know it's good, but by the time I found out it was good, there were so many episodes, and it might just not be my cup of tea. I don't know. It's not a show that immediately interests me, but there's a ton of great reviewers out there who do cover Gumball, whose videos I do watch. I think Alpha J has done a couple of videos, but at the moment, no, and chances are not anytime soon. Smartmouth, nice name, asks, can you start reviewing Doctor Who episodes or Doctor Who series? I've actually done both. I've going to Doctor Who's. I've actually done a Doctor Who's month where I covered the two most popular Doctor Who series, Doctor Who's An Assistant and Doctor Who's Adventures, and then the crossover Wrong Way Backwards they did a few years ago. But if you're referring, chances are if you're asking me that question, you've probably seen those videos and you're wondering if I'll recover the others. Again, I don't know, like, because there's tons of Doctor Who series, but as far as the ones that go beyond like 3 or 4 episodes, there's not that many. At least not that many that I would have as much to say about as I did about the big two. The only ones I could think of doing a review on is maybe Doctor Who's Time of No Return, which is it's not even its own series, it's a comic dub, but it's a really good comic dub. I need to finish it. And Doctor Who's the Great. Doctor Who's the Great, I've been getting so many requests for ever since I did Doctor Who's month. But here's the thing. Doctor Who's the Great was on hiatus for a really long time, like the big two are right now. And again, I understand, personal life gets in the way, but Doctor Who the Great did recently come back. They finished episode 3, finally, and it was amazing. But Doctor Who the Great, there's not that much content to talk about yet, but I do really want to do it. I'm thinking of maybe waiting until a couple more episodes come out. I'll see what the state of the series is, because I can't imagine there won't be an update sometime soon on, now that story is finished, on what the future of the show is going to be. I hope it has a bright future, because there is some mysterious stuff going on in that show that I really want to know about. But if anybody knows of any Doctor Who's series that have come out in the last couple of years that I might have missed, because I haven't looked much lately, let me know. I'm always interested in more Doctor Who's content that's, fairly quality. And if you want a fun time, I'll recommend one to you now. Check out The Adventures of Dr. Who's and Luna, specifically episode 4. I forget what the episode's called, it's been a long time, but they run into a Dalek, and it's a really entertaining encounter. As for Doctor Who episodes, I've done quite a few. I did the pilot, I did Pyramid at the End of the World, and I intended to do Lie of the Land, but that fell through. And I did The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and I was going to do a series of my top 12 favorite 12th Doctor adventures. I marathoned the whole show before his regeneration happened last year, but again, it got way too long, it got way too messy, and it never saw the light of day. Maybe one day. I still got the draft of the script, so we'll see. Maybe one day. But if you mean talking about episodes more frequently, possibly. Again, it all depends on that spark of what I need to talk about it. Doctor Who is in the same vein of My Little Pony and DuckTales. I'll have waves where I want to do nothing but talk about those episodes, and waves of just sitting here and enjoying the episodes, which is what I was doing during Jodie Whittaker's run, even though I really, really liked it. So the answer to this question, as is the answer to all of the can you review ... questions, is maybe. It's a hard maybe. Juan Crespo asks, I had no idea for a fan fiction Dragon Ball Super Maxwell from My Little Pony Equestria Girls. Well, good luck with that. Orange Octopi 7 asks, how do you script your reviews? Very slowly. By thinking about things I just saw and really like a lot, in a daydreaming way, and then not writing any of it down, and then deciding to review the thing a month later, and then forgetting everything I thought about. But if you mean structurally, you know what? I'll show you. So, this is my laptop, and that's my TV, but the rest of the room is not the point of this video. And this is the script I was working on for Best Gift Ever. You might be able to read it. I can't quite tell. I'd capture this, but I don't know how. So basically what I do is I write out things in paragraphs instead of doing it structurally like a script or something. I found this is way easier for me. How it goes is that I'll usually write a script, usually in order, because I found that's the way I discipline myself to get something finished. But sometimes I will write up certain passages out of order, depending on what comes to mind. And then writing it out this way is easier for me because this is the easiest way for me to record it. So I'll record a passage and do about 3 or 4 takes a piece, depending on what fits best, where I think it'll be easiest to take a break. There's no essay structure here. There's no reason that some of these things are broken off where they are. It just depends on what I think is going to be the most comfortable when I eventually record it. But in the actual writing process, it really is just trying to start from the beginning, coming up with an idea, writing it out, and disciplining myself to keep it in order as much as possible, with the thoughts as I'm flowing through after I watched it at least twice. I like to watch something I review at least twice, but sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just do it once. I do have other methods. Sometimes I do take notes, like with the Ant-Man and the Wasp script that I'm currently working on. Spoilers. When I was watching the movie again, I took notes, these little bullet points here, of certain things I want to talk about. Some of them have been erased because it's easier for me that once I write out a passage that I delete the bullet point because it's easier for me to keep things organized. So yeah, nothing fancy. Sometimes this method works well, sometimes it's why certain scripts are stagnated, but that's what's worked for me so far, and I hope that's what you mean by how you write your scripts, because that's the best answer I can think of. What's a series and or franchise you really love that you haven't had the chance to talk about before? There's quite a few. I got to mention it briefly in my top 20 favorite TV shows, but I'm actually a really, really big Digimon fan. Like, by the time I turned 12, it was rivaling Pokemon for my attention, for my love and devotion. I should do more stuff with the Arrowverse series. Supergirl and The Flash are the big ones I watch, although I do watch Legends of Tomorrow too, but I'm really behind on it. Those could be fun shows to talk about, so maybe in the future, but those are things that I'm really into. I'm really into the Supergirl. I'm really into the Flash that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. I plan to do something on the Tangled TV series because I got really into that, but plans fell through on that and just never saw the light of day, but I do really like that show. And cause it's weird, cause Tangled, the movie, I thought was okay, but once I saw the show and what they were doing with the characters in a longer narrative and the kind of twist they were taking with that show, Tangled, the series, is actually really, really good, and it even made me appreciate the movie more. Miles Murphy's Law is another show that I'm into that I plan to do, but that never happened. Maybe I'll do something now that they finally got off their butts and released the Phineas and Ferb crossover in the States. And even though I've talked about over and over again how much I love Sherlock Holmes, I haven't done much on Sherlock Holmes media, again, outside of the top 20 favorite TV shows list. I would really like to do something for Sherlock Holmes adaptations in the same way I did Frankenstein. I'm a huge Mel Brooks nerd. I love Hanna-Barbera. Those are other I don't know if it counts as franchises if it's under a company or if it's under a certain director, but those are two branches of media that I really love that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. And I really want to do videos on some more underrated shows I'm into, like Teacher's Pet. Teacher's Pet has been on the back burner forever, and I thought maybe I'd tackle it finally this year, but then I realized that next year is its 20th anniversary, so we might wait until then. But that's been on the back burner pretty much since I started YouTube, and it's just never happened. How did you start watching Atop the Fourth Wall? I think I actually answered this in the video, but basically what it was is that I was getting really into the can we say the website that must not be named, crossovers. It was a good way to, introduce people to other producers. It was like a game of tag almost, like someone would do a crossover with this person, then I check out their stuff, and then I see a crossover they did with that person, and then I cross over and check that out. And Linkara was in a lot of those. Like, for a good chunk, I think it was between 2010 and 2013, he got a lot of crossovers done, so I kept seeing him a lot. So I wanted to check out his stuff, but again, I wasn't that into comics, and this was back when I only watched reviews of things I was familiar with. That has long since been killed. So I couldn't find any reviews of his I thought I liked for the longest time, and I really wanted to check out his stuff, but I just thought I'd be lost. And then when I saw his crossovers with Suede, because I just randomly typed in Pokemon review and I found Suede stuff, and I found out he was a Pokemon fan, and he said he had a Pokemon review in the first movie video, I was like, oh great, this is it, I can see this. So I did that, found the storyline part, that's the first 5 minutes of that video, was confused as all heck, but was honestly genuinely intrigued. And I liked his style, I liked the review. I was, again, really confused about the storyline start, because before that point, anytime I saw sketches or something, I know it's not a sketch, but any other time you see that in a review, you think it's a sketch. In people's videos, it was usually a non sequitur, or it didn't connect to a larger narrative like it does on the Top of the Fourth Wall. But that was the video that convinced me to at least look into this a bit more. What other YouTube channels do you like to watch? You are asking a loaded question here, aren't you, pal? So here's the thing. I actually tried to do this all in one session. I really did. But when I got to this question, I was just mindlessly scrolling through my subscriptions, missed a bunch, and then it wound up being 10 minutes long. So here I am recording. I've got a list in front of me. I went through my subscriptions. I went through stuff I just don't subscribe to, but I check out regularly. And we're just going to lightning round this. So here's a bunch of stuff because I watch I probably watch YouTube more than anything right now. I'm working on fixing that. I'm working on like spreading out my time to other things because right now I watch a lot of channels, a lot of different stuff. So we're just gonna lightning around this. I'm probably gonna forget a bunch. I'm very sorry, but here's the general list. Linkara, of course, Top the Fourth Wall. Suede's Pokemon Journey. I will always promote it no matter what. Lindsay Ellis, great stuff. Andre the Black Nerd. Silver Quill, one of the best brony reviewer out there. The Blockbuster Buster, looking forward to the 300th episode, and really underrated as far as the former that guy with the glasses people are concerned. Like, he's good. Check out his stuff, especially his honest reviews. Shark Jumping, but they haven't made a video in ages, but what they have made is really good. Comic Drake, very informative comic book stuff, especially some of the more obscure stuff in the big two. Chris Duckman, Jeremy Johns, the Dom's Lost in Adaptation series is also really great. I love videos that talk about adaptations, and I'd love to find more channels who do stuff like that. Secret Screening, not just the Gravity Falls stuff, but I really love their DuckTales content. Shaunicus, also DuckTales reviewer, great stuff. Cellspecs, great animation reviewer. Brony, Dr. Wolf, Anthony C, Lightning Bliss, Blank Slate, actually one of the best reactors out there. I like a lot of other reactors, but most of them stopped posting a long time ago. I actually really like Dan and Phil, Daniel Howell and Amazing Phil. It's fun fluff when you just want to sit and relax. I've recently gotten into this channel called Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy, which is basically all about fandom. You know, it's a good way to dissect it while remaining impartial. She does great work. Also into a lot of collection channels. So for Funko, really into nerd therapy, although they don't just do Funko, they do all sorts of stuff. So check it out, scroll through, you might find something you like. Other Funko related channels, Sergeant Funko, Gasselcast, Jedi Patrol, which actually I gained a few of you guys subscribing to me through just talking during his streams, which was really cool. And I'm really into Pokemon card channels, the big ones being Unlisted Leaf, Leonhard, Laughing Pikachu. Another fun channel to relax to is Game Grumps, of course. Inkpots, My Little Pony animatics are amazing, the gold standard for the fandom as far as I'm concerned. Sonic Song 182's Ask the Sonic Heroes series is amazing. I've been a fan for years. They came back a couple years ago, and it's so funny. If you're a Sonic fan, check it out. Mystery Seeker, the people behind the Gravity Falls fan series, Deep Woods. Only 2 episodes out so far, but they've all been great. Fan projects even more. All the Dr. Who's channels I've talked about, which is like Squeakanon, Ponies with Pockets, Dr. Who's the Great, and Division at 221B, which is the Sherlock Hoof series, which takes place in the Dr. Who's Adventures universe. Kazuriku, old friend of mine, hasn't posted stuff in a while, but what she has with Gravity Falls animatics, it's really powerful stuff. Disney Fanatic 2364, of course, the people behind Bride and Daughter of Discord. It's a great audio series, especially for someone like me who, like I said, isn't crazy about shipping, but it's a good time. But I also really adore her PMVs. She's like the best PMV maker for just like standard clips as far as I'm concerned. I'd go into other PMVers I'm a fan of, but we'd be here all day. Netbug009, who does a great episode by episode series on the show called Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go, which I'm a huge fan of, but no one talks about. So it's great to see her channel and her looking into the episodes a bit deeper. Brony Dan, another Brony reviewer, good guy. Someone I discovered recently and I mentioned in the Christmas haul was To Be Confirmed Productions, who somehow has less subscribers than me. I'm not sure how that's possible, but he does good stuff. It's mostly like movie reviews, but it's a variety of different movies, so definitely check him out. And SP Mask, who I met at Incredicon, really talented artist. He does cool stuff. He just finished a series where he sat in front of Nintendo World in New York City for 30 days and just did sketch cards for people. And he's slowly trickling into reviewing, so I'm interested to see where that goes. So, hopefully that didn't turn out to be a million hours long, and there's probably a million I'm forgetting. I'm very sorry, but hopefully that gives you a general idea of the kind of stuff I watch, and hope that answers your question. Jinx Productions asked, who is your favorite villain in fiction? Ooh, that's a tough one. See, most of the villains that are going through my head have been reformed, but if we're not talking reformed villains, that still makes it hard, because fiction, that's like broad. but the first thing that came to my head, so that's what I'm gonna say, is Scar from The Lion King. He's just so devious. The performance is amazing. He's got such a cool, distinct design, and he tried to frame a child for the murder of his father so he could usurp the throne. He's probably one of the most brutal Disney villains out there, aside from Frollo, and yet he's one of the least competent. Like, he's smart, but once you get on the throne, he's, like, so egotistical. He doesn't even bother trying to rule well. So that's probably who I would pick. Which Funko Pop in your collection is your favorite? You're making me choose between my children, man. That is not okay. In all seriousness, and this answer would be a lot more difficult if it was a few months ago, but if I'm being honest, it's gotta be the Audrey 2 Pop. Like, it's like it encapsulates what I love about Funko, because this movie's been out for like 30 years, and no one has made an official Audrey 2 figure of any kind that I know of. And the fact that this exists, like, I've wanted to own something to represent one of my favorite musicals. That's another one of my favorite films. Maybe it's Audrey 2, but we're gonna stick with Scar. And I have something that represents Audrey 2, like, sitting on my bookshelf. That's something I've wanted since I was like 12 or 13 years old, and it looks incredible and it's amazing. So I'd probably pick that. And finally, what is your favorite episode of Atop the Fourth Wall? Man, I am getting a lot of Atop the Fourth Wall questions lately. I can't imagine why. It's not like I released a 40-minute video on the show not that long ago. Well, here's the thing. What's funny about that, speaking of the video, I actually didn't realize until the editing phase that a good chunk of it was storyline stuff, like the top 12 moments. Like, I wanted to space out evenly between reviews and storyline stuff, but the big stuff that I adore about Atop the Fourth Wall, most of what I could gush about was probably the storyline stuff. So it's weird that I didn't put a favorite episode as far as reviews go, which I'm assuming is your question, on the list. The closest is One More Day, and I do really like One More Day. I think it's a great episode, a very important one for Atop the Fourth Wall. But in terms of just a review, if we're going for storyline and review, probably the Electric Tail of Pikachu review, because that was my first, and it's what really hooked me, and even after all this time, I still think it holds up as both a review and a conclusion that was just so memorable. But again, in terms of just a review itself, God, there's so many. There's like over 500 to choose from. But off the top of my head, probably one I watched a lot last year, and one of my favorites to revisit is the 15 Things Wrong with Civil War video. It was just because I'd heard of the story, I heard that it was awful, and doing that after the movie came out was a great way to... It's kind of what I get into with Atop the Fourth Wall, because again, I'm not well versed in comics, at least I'm better now. Like, I know who the characters are and everything, but in terms of deep lore, I'm still kind of not that knowledgeable. So what's fun for me is like finding these videos that go into like deep dive into why this story is infamous and why it didn't work. And I know Lewis doesn't like doing list videos, but that's probably one of the best deep dives in terms of what exactly was wrong with the story. And definitely the most entertaining. There are some really good laughs in that episode, especially when you get to the part about the clone of Thor and why it's there. So yeah, there's probably a million others, but I wouldn't want to rant too much again. So right now at the moment, it'd probably be 15 Things Wrong with Civil War, because I watched that video a lot when I was doing To Infinity War and Beyond. Game Master 1 asked, firstly, what took you so long? I'm sorry, okay? Here's the thing, I told this person that I was going to do a Q&A, and I took forever to do it. I'm sorry. It was the holidays. I've been busy here at home, and it's gonna get even busier, but I'll tell you about that later. Now, on to questions. Have you checked out Ruby yet? Is Ruby how you say it, or is it RWBY? I think it's Ruby, and the answer is no. I know you've asked about this before. I don't know, maybe one day. I'm just not that interested at the moment. I don't even know what it's about. I'll have to look that up sometimes. Because I know it's popular and I know people like it, but at the moment, no, I have not seen it. Have you ever read the Artemis Fowl book series before? I have not. I'm very sorry, but I work at a library and I know that it's very popular, and maybe that movie that's coming out, or is it a movie or a TV series? I think it's a movie, will be really good and it'll convince me to, but I'm not getting my hopes up. What are your thoughts on Gemerald or Emerald? I would love to see a character analysis on him. His arc only extends to Battle, Advance 3, and Chronicles, though. Emerald? Battle, Advance 3, and Chronicles. I think this is talking about Sonic. Oh, ML. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, don't worry. When I was trying to figure out what you were saying, I spelled it wrong when I was Google searching it. So, huh. Oh, here's the thing. I think I mentioned this in the Shadow the Hedgehog video game series that I'm not that familiar with the handheld game continuity as I probably should be, mostly because once you do, especially when you get into things like Battles and Chronicles, it gets really messy in terms of continuity. But I know who ML is, mostly through his small arc in Sonic X. Maybe if I ever do a full video on Sonic X itself, outside of just what I covered of Shadow Story, maybe, but I don't know, I don't have that much to say about ML. I feel like ML is more of a way to emulate Cream's character, at least in Sonic X, than it was for ML himself. Although I do think he's cool. I like the copy powers ability that he has. I like the design. And you are right, his arc only I knew he was in Battles. I didn't realize he was in Chronicles. I knew he was in Advance 3 too, because if I'm right, that's the connection to Cream. That's how they connected it in Sonic X. So probably not, but once I eventually finish the Shadow the Hedgehog series, depending on how much demand there is, maybe I'll see if I can extend it to other Sonic characters. And this will be our last question, still from Game Master 1. Do you have a Discord? I'm more active there. I do actually, but as far as my personal account, if you want to friend me or something, I only friend people I'm actually friends with, not just subscribers, and only 1 or 2 of my friends have asked if they can friend request me on Discord. But, and this is something I wanted to ask you guys actually, I was actually thinking of developing a Discord server for Let's Talk About, because the whole point of this channel is to develop a community and let everybody talk about what they want to. That's why I keep encouraging to leave comments. So if that's something you guys might be interested in, if you might be interested in having a Discord server for Let's Talk About, for the channel, for this little community here we have, let me know. Also, I've been thinking of getting Twitter. Should I break down and get Twitter? I don't know. This went off the rails, I'm sorry. But in the meantime, yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you all so much for your questions. It was an interesting bunch, actually. This was fun. And depending on how much the channel grows, maybe we'll keep doing this again. Maybe this won't just be a one-time thing, because I had a lot of fun doing this. So again, thank you all for participating in this Q&A. Thank you all for your continued support for the last couple of years, but whether you've been here since the beginning or you just joined this week, it really does mean so much. So before I keep rambling, because I don't know how long this is going to turn out to be, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.